Hi guys, this is Sheree from Divine Visions. I'm bringing you a recap of the Spirit Session Part 2 regarding Abby and Libby from Delphi, Indiana, and the clues around the bridge guy. Now, what we've pretty much established so far from Spirit Session number 1 is that there's more than one predator, I guess you could call them. And the Spirit Session number 2 kind of confirms that as well. Now, it's interesting the storyline that you can put together with all the clues. They can be quite cryptic at times, but it is interesting when you can put the clues together and kind of work out what certain things mean, that it really does tell the story. So if we go back onto, looking back onto the Spirit Session, number 2, he says, shouldn't have, kid knocked him down, dumb. And so in other words, that tells me one of the kids has knocked him down and that it was a dumb move because it's made him more angry. And she put up a fight, and I believe that was Libby. It made him angry. And so even though we know it's not a dumb move, I mean, if you're fighting for your damn life, it's not a dumb move. But this is what Spirit is saying. Maybe Libby's saying that. Maybe she's coming through with that message of, it was a dumb thing for me to do. Maybe she's thinking she could have saved their lives by not doing that. You know, it could be something along those lines. And there's a reason I say that, because further on down into the video, there is a message there where she feels regret over other actions. Okay, we'll get into that as well. So then it says back language. And to me, that means that one of the girls was quite vocal, like a back chatting. There was language, there might have been swearing, there might have been like a back chatting kind of thing where it's kind of like, you know, kind of like a survival thing of acting tough. And then when the Spirit says, welcome to this place, almost lost, I believe that Bridge Guy was at first coming across as welcoming to them, like welcoming them. And to this place is interesting because it sounds like that there was some kind of a plan made to meet them there. And then we hear that almost lost means that, okay, when someone's almost lost or needing help with something, maybe he's trying to put it across to them that, okay, welcome and greeting them, can you help me with this kind of thing? You know, I'm almost lost with this kind of thing. And then Spirit says outcast. So he's an outcast, was homeless, no home. Could be that he had no physical structure like a home around him, that he was outdoors camping and living sort of rough. Could be that he could have been in a prison, that there was no actual home. And then Spirit said, bring third exit blocks. Okay. That to me tells me there's 3 blocks, there's 3 people. That just is what I've got from it, is that there's 3 paths or that need to be blocked. 3 exit points. In other words, they don't want the girls fleeing in any direction that they can to go in. Okay, so the part of the bridge, you know, the other, when we're looking at the big, the bridge itself is huge, like it's so many meters off the ground. I don't even know how many it is, but it's bloody high. And that's why it's called the High Trail Bridge. And there's only one way they can go off this bridge, right? To get to the other end, to get picked up by their person, they had to go to the other side. And they either, you know, if they're going to go from the place where they were dropped off or whatever, it's like, well, the bridge guy's there, so they've got to get past him. And, yeah, it's just all strange how this is occurring. So they're saying 3 exit blocks, like 3 people keeping, like I feel like there was 2 other people keeping watch while the bridge guy was on the bridge. And then we hear Spirit say, sure, they'll be here, meaning girls will be here, and help with his bag. So that was the kind of like thing to lure them in, I feel, is that he felt like he was going to welcome them, make out he was like a nice guy that needed help with something, help with his bag. And then we hear Spirit say, nothing but I heard a lot. And I think that might be one of the associates. May not have been there physically, but heard a lot going on through the radio, because we hear later on that it says call up and hear and see. So it feels to me that they're either on a phone or a radio, or have been just told what's happened. Yeah, and it could be that they've gone back and reported back to the person who sent them there, because I feel like there was somebody that paid them to send them there for their debt. Right, there's a debt there that needed to be paid. So 20 years I've been down, significant to jail time perhaps, or 20 years of living there in the area. You know, so he says, Spirit says 20 years of being down. And then they say something like, it'll be on a blog. Like, we'll hear all about it on the blog. Is this like what they're calling the blog, as in, you know, the news, YouTube videos, whatever it is? Yeah, it's interesting, that part. Then we've got door sign. Door sign kept coming up quite a few times. And then we hear someone said, I'll get it. Sounds a bit like I'll kill you when I heard it back through my phone. And it says, start moving. So it sounds to me like somebody is yelling at them to start moving inside somewhere. And as we know, well, I'm not too sure of the case still. I've still got to look at all the details. But as far as I'm aware, there was a barn or a shack or something that there may have been the actual crime scene of where the girls were, killed. And it just is interesting. They keep saying something about a door and a sign. Yeah, so that's interesting, that part. I'm just going to look through my notes because I've written them down in so many areas here. And then we've got them saying chip dark. And I was thinking, as soon as I heard that, I thought of wood chips, you know, like on the ground. Maybe there's dark wood chips. That's a clue of some sort. Maybe the guy's living where there are dark wood chips. Maybe he's camping out somewhere where there are very dark wood chips. And then I think there's another one. I question, was he alone, almost lost, player age 20? Oh no, sorry, I question, was he alone, because it said again, almost lost, and I'm thinking player age 20. So was there an associate pretending to be lost, lure the girls in, right, to the older guy now, being the bridge guy? Or was it that he's just learnt how to speak this talks, you know, talk the talk kind of thing? Because it feels to me that he also has been rehearsing and learning how to relate to them as well. I do feel like there was a younger associate, but I think it's important that Bridge Guy was able to actually get them in to where he wanted them to be for his own motive. And he's not going to do that if he's a scary, older-looking dude. He's got to come across as calm and welcoming and have a younger kind of feel to him. So, yeah, this is what I'm getting from this. And it feels like someone has approached the girls acting lost, maybe, I need some help with my bag, do you want to help me, kind of thing. He acts younger in his speech, his demeanour. And then he goes, the Spirit says, I'm going to take us to this place. And then we hear door sign again. And this is where I feel it's the actual building that the girls were taken into. And I'll give you a fight, is one of the girls saying, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to fight for my life. And one of the girls fought back, I believe it was Libby. But the man says, as Spirit says on there, I won't be bluffed. And then get her, So in other words, he's not afraid of them. No matter what they're saying or doing, they're really not, they just don't have hope there, you know, to escape this. Now, the interesting thing I've found with Spirit saying killer's soap, the killer's soap is in his car. And I'm thinking, geez, the soap is still in his car. Is it still in his car, you know, all this time? Like, has he got a car he's kind of living in and he's just keeping it as a trophy or something? I don't know. But that was interesting. And I wonder if it holds the girl's DNA of some sort on there as well, okay? Whether it be blood on there from his hands when he washed his hands, because that's what I'm assuming the killer's soap is for. He's washed his hands. And I had a vision of it sitting in like a glove box of a compartment there in a car. And then we hear Spirit say, I failed us, okay? That's Libby, I believe, talking. That's Libby saying that she feels guilty, because it says then, I lost control, and her eyes were still, okay? So, in other words, what I feel like she's saying is that she felt guilty for fighting back. She feels she made things worse. She feels she made him angrier, and that she feels responsible for Abby's death. And that's really sad. That is so sad to know that she feels that she failed the two of them, not realizing when I do connect with them, I'm going to tell them that, you know, well, I actually don't feel that they're grounded. I feel they've gone to heaven as we know it. And I do believe they are in the light. So I feel like what Spirit are trying to do is reenact how she felt at the time. They're still reenacting the day. And she's feeling like when she saw Abby on the ground, and I don't want to go into details of what I've seen, because it's just too upsetting. But she feels really guilty for losing control and perhaps swearing or saying something that's antagonized this predator, okay, to lash out at Abby, I feel, because that was a punishment to Libby. I feel that they were doing that to show her what can happen, you know, what they're capable of. And I say they, I feel like there's more than one, because I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so number 3, we have, I said, what's his name? And that's something I want to keep questioning, what's his name? And then we hear Bud, right? Bud. Can I be turned the back dignity in his orders, son of duty? Okay, so it just sort of doesn't make sense there. But I'm hearing it, okay, so they're calling him Bud, as in like Buddy. Either he is being called that as a nickname by people, Bud, Buddy, or that's his way of talking to other people. Hey, Buddy, hey, Bud. And then I hear the can I be turned the back dignity in his orders. So I believe that one of the associates, and I believe it's the younger one, the less experienced one, started freaking out as to what he was getting himself involved in. And he's thought, fuck, I need to turn back. I need to have some dignity in this, and I need to be able to, this is just too much for me. And the bridge guy, I believe, or someone else, whoever it is, someone's the bloody ringleader in all this. You know what I mean? That's how it kind of seems like there's a hierarchy going on. Because we have this guy giving orders, son of duty. This could be a father-son relationship here involved somehow with this link. Yeah, it's just so bizarre how I'm seeing all this stuff. And it could be somebody that, as I said in the past video, in part 1, that this person could be a government. He could be working for the government. He could have been an ex-cop. Could have been someone that's worked for the law, security guard, you name it. Could be anybody like that that's coming through with this real down the line military kind of military discipline. You know, it's just really, it's full on. It's really full on, and he's to be like feared, you know, from these people. These people fear him, that they're working for him. So it's like he's got some kind of power. And I feel like some issues arose with one of the other guys being ordered around. He didn't want to be ordered around, because then we hear it says don't treat me like a baby, right? It's like he's saying, don't treat me like a baby. I'm not a baby or something it said in the spirit thing. And then you hear, get to your quarters, like get to your position, do as I say type thing. And then when we're hearing that just a punk, I'm thinking that Libby, I feel she's the one that's vocal here, has probably come across maybe that she was talking to Abby and said, don't worry about them, they're just punks or something, or he's just a punk. I just feel like she was quite brave, and I'm amazed at what I see with how brave she was considering the situation they were in. And then Spirit says protein, which could be, could represent somebody who likes to work out and look after themselves, you know, protein shakes, that kind of thing. The only reason I thought that connection was there with that is because the word zip way, I didn't know what that meant. So I looked it up on Google, and I think there's a couple of things, but one thing really stood out to me was like these sweatpants, you know, and I think they're like gym pants or something, or sweatpants. I'll have to look it up again. I can't even remember what it was exactly. But I remember thinking, oh my God, they're a brand or they're a type of sweatpants. And I'm wondering if that's what's happened, because then not long after that it says help with his bag. So he's got a change of clothes in there, obviously, to go on a flight with, because later on it says he needs a change of clothes to go on a flight. So I'm wondering too if the protein could have been a clue for fish, because they kept mentioning fish further down the thing as well. So maybe there's a some kind of a connection with fishing with this guy as well. Yeah, I'll just have to keep tuning into that one. Now, we hear Spirit say she's approaching, and one of the guys, I believed, has a walkie-talkie or a radio, has informed the bridge guy. She's approaching. I hear the words, she's approaching. And then you hear block. Well, that means block the pathway. Playing lottery means no risks, no gamble. Right? So we can't risk them running off. No gambling with this. This is a mission we have to do, and we've got to do it right, and we've, you know, planned for this, and we're here, and we've got only a short time span to do it in. Let's get to it. That's what I'm getting from this. Bring one man. It says go, bring one man. It sounds like it's because one has sent one man, right? We know that one has been sent, because that's what the last part 1 session said. Somebody sent him, or somebody sent him to do it. And I don't have any idea what the Hickster step means, but it was just so weird, because I looked it up, as once again I like to confirm things when they're coming through. I looked it up and couldn't find anything for a while. I'm thinking, what the hell is this Hickster step? And then I come across this website that talks about deer hunting, pig hunting, and it's kind of like some kind of a blog or something someone's done on what they want to see. I'm just going to have a look here quickly at where it is, because it's just so bizarre. And it's talking, and this is like, oh, how many years ago was this blog or website being posted on here? And it says, an insider's guide to the deer hunting, pig farming, mushroom foraging, Hickster artists of the Catskills, right? And I just find that so interesting, because here we are talking about someone who's outdoors. You know, they keep saying earthman, pig farming and deer hunting and all that. I always felt this guy was a hunter. He likes to hunt. I said that in the last session. And yeah, this is just very interesting. I will put perhaps a link in there for it, but I find this really interesting that it's saying, because I've never even heard of the word Hickster. But what it's meant to be based on, apparently, is it's like a blend of hipsters and hicks, right? So it's kind of like crazy old freaks, as they say here, doing their own thing. Loners whose disenchantment with society might bring out radicalisms of profound difference and remove. And I think that is just freaking amazing that this has actually come up as a clue. Through looking at this, you know, following the clue, looking on Google and finding that, I'm like, what the heck? You know, and I'm thinking, geez, this is so bizarre, because they're saying he's an outcast, he's socially awkward or whatever, probably been in prison. and there's just all this stuff about this stuff on Hickster, you know, I just think that's weird. And then we've got the spirit saying, flee as a lizard. Well, that freaked, me out. I'm thinking, what the hell does that mean? So I'm thinking lizard can camouflage, can't they? A lizard can sit on a rock and you wouldn't even know it because he's kind of camouflaging into the rock. And they can lay very still. They are very still. They don't move, but when they do move, they move damn fast, right? The kind of lizards I'm talking about, the smaller lizards, they move fast. And it's saying flee as a lizard, which is just a bizarre way to describe something. But it's interesting, it's saying bring one man, right? Flee as a lizard, the Hickster step. It's kind of like, it's kind of like saying, bring this man in who's experienced with the outdoors and being able to camouflage and hide himself and blend in with the environment. But if anyone needs to flee, we know how to do this. We know how to abort the mission, basically. That's how I see it. Yeah. So then we've got number 4 page. Where am I? I've got so many pages written out on this. It's not funny. This is what I do. I'm just like, oh my God, so much stuff. Where are you? I know I've written it down here somewhere. Dagnammit. Number 4. Yeah. So here we are. So upon greeting and seeing their demeanour, she's thinking Libby, I believe, and Abby as well. These men are killers, okay? Because at first they're nice and welcoming and trying to be what they are, but Libby knew. I believe they both knew that, oh my God, these men are not good. Especially if they're saying you men or these men are killers, because they're realising, shit, there's two, and there's something not right here. And when Spirit says, remember this cuts, I believe is like a knife threat. It's like holding a knife saying, remember this cuts, do as I say. And I'm wondering if Bridge Guy brought a change of clothes, like I said before, because it said something about change for flight or something, change for flight. And I was wondering, because in the part 1, I think they said something about heading down Memphis or something. And I remember tuning into something about Philadelphia in there as well. And I think there was another area, but I can't remember now. I'd have to listen back. Now, the sentence, his home was like, his home was like cop system, or something. It's like his home was like a cop system. I can't remember exactly. You'll know when you hear it, but it's like his home was like that. And then it says cops. No, his home was like a cop's system, And I'm thinking, wow, okay, so was it locked down? Or are they talking about prison? Was he in prison? Or was he a cop himself? This is all the things that we've got to kind of tune into here. And then we've got just a punk, camping, living outdoors maybe. That's some of my notes. Like, could have been living outdoors, because they're saying just a punk, And this is it. When we hear them say here in a minute, they're waiting for the girls to turn up. They're planning, they're preparing for them to arrive. We're already there, waiting. Oh my God, as I'm talking right now, I'm seeing a man. I don't even know why the hell I'm seeing this, and it may not be correct, but as I'm talking right now, I'm starting to get a vision of, oh my God, okay. This guy has an army crew cut type hairdo. I'll have to post a picture or something if you're on my Facebook, but I can see it, and he's got a blue jumper, like a navy blue jumper on, and jeans and sneakers, and he's got, it's almost like spiky kind of hair, like I'm seeing short spiky hair, very shortly cut, and he's a young dude. He's probably in his early 20s, early to mid 20s, and I see him with blonde brown hair, and he's there. He's one of them. He's the younger associate that I believe has befriended the girls. He's there. I can see him. He's behind the bushes. I can see him hiding in the bushes. It's so bizarre that he'd be wearing blue, but that's what I see him in. Because, I mean, he'd have to be. If he's luring the girls, he's got to look normal. He can't be dressed up in camo gear. So that makes sense to me. Far out. I'm getting the shakes. Far out. I wasn't expecting that at all. I haven't tuned in. I want to do another session with the girls just after this. But far out, didn't expect to get that so vividly in my mind just then. I wasn't even tuning into that right now. Yeah, so I believe when they're saying that something about being dignified or something before breaking their cover, holding themselves, being calm. A girl may have called him a punk or something along those lines. And he might be saying, yeah, this is something I saw too, that as the bridge guy, because we saw in the spirit session that there is a part where he starts sharpening his knives, and oh my God, even just the thought of it, just talking about it naturally is just horrific to think about. Being a psychic and tuning into it and seeing it, oh my God, it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. And he wanted to be in power. He wanted to be in control. He wanted them to be freaking out. And this mention of gold is interesting because we hear the young girl gasp in the background there when he's saying something about gold. And I'm wondering, were they panning for gold? Was there... I don't even know the area. I'd have to look it up. Is there anything about panning for gold around there? Or is there anything about looking for gold or anything like that? I'm just wondering why there's a mention of gold and then them saying, look at it, there's gold. And perhaps that's what they're saying. I need help with my bag. Come down here, we'll show you some gold or something. I don't know. I'm trying to put all the pieces still together. But, I feel like that they might have also... brought them, actually I think they were found at the river, because I get this feeling of being taken down to the river, but whilst alive. They were taken there twice. I feel like they were taken there the first time. Maybe they had to cross past it or something to get to this other barn or something. I'm not sure. I have to actually look at all the maps. Work out why I feel like they've been there twice. On the same thing going on there. Now, and then we hear Spirit say, if I must stay, it says greet him. And I'm thinking that one of the girls is thinking, if I must stay, if I can't leave this situation, I have to greet him and just play calm, play along, be nice. And that's where they've gotten to that point of. Now, when we hear let them shiver, run, they're still hot, that confused me. I thought, what the hell does that mean? Let them shiver, run, they're still hot. Now, I do understand. I feel like I do understand. It could be wrong, but I believe that the girls weren't fully deceased when the, let's say, perpetrators had did what they had to do with them, right? What they felt they had to do with them to kill them. I feel like they have said, they might have been naked. I'm not sure. All I can see is that they're saying, let them shiver. We've got to run. And then one's saying they're still alive. They're still hot, meaning they're still alive. And I just don't feel that they were fully deceased when the men had left. Now, one of the guys may be 60. It may not be Bridge Guy, but it could be, because, we did see initially that he looked like an older guy. It's interesting, Spirit says, I'm 60. So I'm wondering if it's him, or if there's someone else involved in this chain of people that's 60, okay? And it says that he's felt at home in the role, because it said something about it said was like home there, prolonged demeanour, younger play. Now to me, that says that he felt at home in the role he was playing in, okay? Being young, and acting like that. He felt at home doing that. It's just like he liked being secretive. He liked being those two kinds of people, you know. And the word language kept coming up. It's saying language, you know. And I just feel that's one of the girls had attitude to start with. They were fighting, biting, swearing, and then you hear one of the spirits say with a muffled sound. It sounds like it's muffled, so they've got something over their mouth. Whether they've gagged them or something, or put something over their mouth so they can't scream. And she says, "You're mean." And I just felt like crying. It was so sad. I'm just, oh my God. She goes, "You're mean." And then we hear see the word chested. Oh no, we saw it say hurts inside, chesting. And that means that when someone's punched you so hard in the chest that it hurts, like you can't breathe. And this is what this person's done to one of the girls. Door sign man then came up. Not just door sign, but it said door sign man. Now, to me, that means somebody standing at a door, guarding a door with a sign. I mean, is it a bouncer? Is he a security guard? Is he a policeman? Is he a sign writer? You know, there's just all these things to think about here. Just, it keeps going on about it, doesn't it? About this door and this sign. I don't think it's just talking about the barn. I think it's trying to give us clues as to what this guy does as a job, perhaps. Because it's saying door sign man. And then we have cool fashion, minds of others, getting into the heads of others, I believe, like how they think. How do younger people think? How do they act? You know, repeats their names, it said. I believe to rehearse what their names are, because he's been given this mission. He needs to know their names. He needs to build a rapport with them in a very quick time. And then when I said something like, is this guy known to them? Or, you know, they said ball joints, 3-gear mounting. I've got no idea what that means. And then it says it said job site. And I'm thinking, okay, so the girls are linked to the job site because it was lastly met. They said that the girls lastly met this guy at a job site. So I'm thinking that this guy works on, because we had other things coming up about truck parts, and these all sound like parts of like an engine or something, or something. I'm really hopeless with this kind of stuff, but machinery or trucks or vehicles or something. There's some site that somebody's working on. It could be trucks, because we had 8 trucks there at one stage being said as well, and the girls have met this guy there. So whether it be with their family somehow, they've met this guy through there, not knowing the connections, you know. Something's going on there. And then they say millions of interest in them. I'm thinking, okay, in the cells it's the speak, hip. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, is this millions of interest in what? Children or murders, or, you know, what is it? What do they have to be speaking like this hip kind of way, like they have to speak in this cool fashion? And I believe the girls then went from shock to denial, because then we hear spirits say, "This isn't happening," she said. Irreversible, okay? And you hear one of them say, "I could not get them at the back of their shins," basically. So that tells me that she tried to fight, but she couldn't get them at the back of the legs. So yeah, just confirming again when Spirit said has alliances, and it said something about surety and divide and things like that. So it's obviously telling us that this person, Bridge Guy, has alliances, okay? There's somebody else. He's the one, I feel, that's someone's given him and the others, but someone's given him the responsibility to take care of things. And divide means that the mission has been divided. The responsibility has been divided. I believe there's 3, if not more. There could even be more. Who freaking knows? But I feel very strongly there's 3. And then we hear double mind it's hearing about this mental stuff like psychosomatic and mental and double mind. And I'm sorry if you're hearing that in the background, it's a car. So the double mind, but I thought, okay, does that mean he has a split personality? But it says something in there like, I hid for many years a double mind. And I'm thinking, well, a split personality might be very hard to hide. But if you're an evil bastard who wants to kill someone, you can hide that, can't you? So that would be the double mind I feel that he's hiding. Two people inside of himself, you know, one that's presenting himself to the world and acting like how he needs to be in the role that he needs to be, like most sociopaths and psychopaths act like. And then beneath himself, you know, within himself, he's this evil frickin' monster. He sells vehicles by the sounds of it, so he might be working with truck parts, he could be a mechanic. It might be that he's no longer in the, if he was in a government job, he may not necessarily be in that anymore. You know, he might be doing odd jobs, working for a truck industry or a car, like a vehicle parts or something like that. It shows he's on a pension, receiving old checks. And then it says, you're the pit man. So I'm thinking, is that to do with automobiles? Is that camping pit? You know, you've got to work this out. People have undermined how evil or double-minded this person is, because it says undermined in there, of how double-minded this person really is. And is there a vehicle he has set up to lure children into, like a mock truck? Because that's what they're saying, it's a mock truck. I mean, does this mean that it's not really what it's presented to be, like he's luring someone in there? It said cage. Oh my god, this freaked me out. This gave me the chills. Cages inside with little hearts. That means that there's cages, and inside are little hearts. That means little kids. So innocent children are being put in cages. I think this person might be freaking doing dirty jobs for a lot of people. It's not just this one case. I don't believe these are the only ones that he's killed or is going to. Okay, this is why we need to get this person. Now, they say an earth man. And I thought, okay, first thing I thought was an outdoorsy type. You know, someone who loves camping, someone who loves to go outdoors and hike, camp outside under the stars, or do fishing or go hunting. Could also be that he could be a Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo. Could be his birth sign, okay? And then we see tents, rope, and way save. I don't really know what a way save is. I think it's something like if you're on a budget or you've got to go somewhere and save your money. A way to save your money by living it really simply, you know. That's the way to live, not paying rent. And then we hear, I've been to a piece of them. And the word that came to me was vigil. So I'm assuming that by now there would have been many of those gatherings where like a vigil being set for Abby and Libby, and there would have been candles lit or something, which a lot of people do. He's been to those. He's been to at least one of them. And then we hear bring Carly in. Well, I've been working on the Carly Goose case, so I'm wondering if they want her to come in and help with this case as well, because she's gone to the light. She's gone to heaven as we know it now. They all have. I feel like they all have. But they all may be able to work in together. Now, this is interesting. Society has to be sectioned and secured because we hear the spirit say, any leaks? You know, is there any leaks in this, any information coming out anywhere? And society has to be sectioned and secured for true info to come out. So in other words, when you're able to secure or section something, you can sort of work your way around little groups, get the info coming out. Now we hear a woman or a young girl say, give it back. He's kept something of one of theirs. It could be jewelry, something that they had on them. He's kept as a trophy, and it could be a necklace, could be anything. There's an earring. I don't know. There's something is kept as a trophy. Now we hear May 1st through reversible, which I don't really know what that means, but it could be a time frame of when he's starting to work somewhere, because then it says 8 trucks there, and then truck parts, pins, etc. and mission dead, meaning I believe mission accomplished. Yeah. Interesting if there was a place around there where they hold like 8 trucks. My God, I'd freak out. But this is just, yeah, interesting. So then they say bad guys they vested in. Well, that's just obvious. People have vested in these bad guys to do this dirty work for them. They've paid them to do it, I believe. Yeah. This is just, I'm just going to be doing a session again with Abby and Libby, and hopefully we'll have some information, and even hopefully they'll come through themselves and be able to have communication with us. It would be just beautiful for them to be able to come through and leave messages for perhaps their loved ones. And if they wish to share any information that they feel they want to, they can. But I just wanted to get this happening tonight. I didn't realise it would be so bloody long. My God, 40 minutes long. But anyway, I wanted to go through that, and I'm really interested to hear what you think about this also. And if you have any other ideas, please comment below.